dropped on Soccer's morning show, Soccer Down Here. John here, you there. And there's a lot of news this morning. Sorry, let me put these on the floor. This was from yesterday. It's not breakfast, people. I know you're probably sitting there going, man, why does he have Pringles up for breakfast? That's not for breakfast. Mountain Dew is for breakfast. Pringles are not for breakfast. It's a leftover from yesterday's productions. And if you missed it, last night I posted what would have been the show close for yesterday because of 9/11. So I posted an independent kind of a coda. So that's across the network. However you download our stuff, whether it's on the app or your favorite podcatcher or soccerdownhere.net, that coda is there for you to listen to about 9/11. There's a lot of news this morning, and we'll get into the news across the board. And we've got now. So listen, here's the rundown of everything that I had that was newsworthy. Salt Lake, El Salvador, Juve, and I know that Nick's you wanted to do something with England. With Italy and international play. Manchester United, Louis Van Gaal, the USL Players Association because of something that happened with Central Valley Fuego and Lex SC. FIFA, the sale of the Portland Thorns, Jessica Berman's interview, 3GB addressing Bruce Arena, Man U probably having another front of shirt sponsor, and FIFA being FIFA when it comes to recognizing male individuals. So literally, we have like a boatload of news this morning. And so it's across the board, a lot of news. The planned interview that we had with Kit Lefersky has got pushed back. She took a knock in training this morning, Celtic time. And so when we get the chance to catch up with her, we will catch up with her. The University of Florida product who is doing well with the Celtic women's side. So we're going to catch up with Kit Lefersky after they've settled in with the knock in training that she picked up this morning. Morning, Alec. And so there's plenty to talk about this morning. So for opening kickoff, I was going to continue the Spain saga briefly. And it's once again brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee, kickoffcoffeeco.com. The QR code in the middle of the screen is Kickoff Coffee. Do not pay attention to that QR code right yet. That's the halfway point. QR code right there for those of you who are watching on Twitch, on Twitter, and on Facebook. And don't forget to use the code SoccerDownHere15. You get 15% off of your purchase. They, in turn, take 10% at Kickoff Coffee, reinvested into youth games, youth initiatives. Very, very cool stuff from our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. And this is where I need a third hand because I'm left-handed and the mouse was over there. Yesterday, Graham Dunbar, who is a must-follow when it comes to the world soccer situation and all the news that's fit to print. Dunbar works over at the AP. And he had a note from Neil, Switzerland, as we continue with Rubiales down here. One day after Spanish official Luis Rubiales finally resigned from his leadership jobs, UEFA hosted a storied group of women's players and coaches for a conference to help shape a brighter future for the game. And when it was over, UEFA thanked its now former vice president, quote, for his many years of service in its first major statement since Rubiales' conduct at the Women's World Cup final that is now under criminal investigation in Spain. 3 Ballon d'Or winners joined UEFA meeting in person or online. It was Alexia Putellas, one of Spain's World Cup winning team whose triumph had been tarnished because of Jenny Hermoso. At UEFA's headquarters was Vera Boquet, who, as Spain's captain 8 years ago, joined a player revolt that moved the longtime and unpopular male coach of the national team. Boquet said, quote, today this subject obviously came up. Boquet told the AP when asked if the Rubiales controversy was on the agenda. A little bit of specifics, but also in general, what we can do to protect players or to give them a safe space. UEFA launched its football board for women's soccer this year to create an institutional yet independent voice of experience and expertise, that's in quotation marks, on subjects including player welfare. In their first meeting Monday afternoon in Switzerland, it opened less than 24 hours after Rubiales resigned. I'm still trying to figure out the whole Piers Morgan thing. He accepted the inevitable end of his soccer presidency in Spain after 3 weeks of defiance and hostility toward his critics and at times Hermoso. Suspended by FIFA during the disciplinary case, accused of sexual assault by Spanish prosecutors, he's denied any wrongdoing. Resignation offered no apology to Hermoso. He did stress not wanting to distract from Spain's bid to host the 2030 World Cup in a UEFA-backed project with Portugal, Morocco, and possibly Ukraine. I still think it's Saudi Arabia, but that's just me. UEFA was silent on Rubiales, one of its 6 vice presidents, each paid $270,000 annually for 10 days after the final in Australia. Alexander Sefrin then told French sports daily L'Equipe the conduct was inappropriate. In the statement Monday noting the resignation after Sefrin had lunched with the women delegates, there was praise but not words of solidarity toward the Spanish players and women's soccer in general. Quote, UEFA acknowledges the public discourse surrounding Mr. Rubiales and his recent actions, but would also like to thank him for his many years of service to European football. In view of the ongoing legal proceedings, UEFA has no further comments to make on this matter, end quote. Boquete described the situation as a mess, though was optimistic. Quote, what happened in the last 3 weeks is a mess, but at the same time, it can be the right push. How you use a bad situation, bad actions to change something for good. We have the opportunity here, Boquete said. One positive is that Spain's players should end their refusal to represent their country. This is Dunbar. Should end their refusal to represent their country. Now Rubiales has gone and the coach he supported, Jorge Vilda, was fired last week. Boquete, quote, in theory, all the players should be back with those demands they made. It's a good start. We hope that now also the players can be heard more. After playing soccer for clubs in the U.S., Russia, China, and across Europe, she was a natural choice for the UEFA advisory panel. She also has been educated with UEFA's help on its master's course to help players build careers in the industry. If you want to have a place everyone can hear you or listen to you, you need to know what you're going to say. UEFA did not make any senior manager available for the interview at its event on Monday. So, UEFA, well done. Tongue firmly planted in cheek. You had a meeting, you had a chance to say something, and because of the legal the current legal situation, you chose not to. And you thanked Luis Rubiales for his service. Good job. Morning, Jarrett. We continued Luis Rubiales down here for opening kickoff.
Okay.
Basically, yes. So
I'm just tired of him. I'm tired of the story, and not in the sense that I don't want to talk about, because it's important to talk about. I'm not trying to say that.
Yeah.
I just want him to shut the hell up.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
stop talking.
Yes, go away, and
just
actually have, yes, and
long walk, short pier, all that crap. Just shut this.
Yes, exactly.
Stop talking. Hell, man, just
go away.
Take a vow of silence or something. I don't know.
Yes.
Just quit injecting yourself. There's a thing in the world where, as has been popularly said on the app formerly known as Twitter.
Yes.
The goal, every day on the internet and every day in the news, there is a main character. The goal is to not be that main character.
Absolutely.
This man just leaned his whole damn ass into being that main character ever since the end of the Women's World Cup. Mm-hmm. And I get the idea that, like, oh, there's no such thing as bad publicity. Bro, there is. And you are pushing that damn limit. Mm-hmm. Just by being an obnoxious walking bag of dicks. Mm-hmm. So just stop, please.
That's opening kickoff, by the way. Brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee, kickoffcoffeeco.com. There's your QR code for those of you watching on Twitch. And don't forget to use the code SoccerDownHere15, thanks to those of you who have. And you get 15% off your purchase. Thanks for those of you who have kicked off your day. See what I did there? With our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. They, in turn, take 10% reinvested into the youth game. Very, very cool stuff from our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com.
I
News
can't
from
believe somebody wasted a perfectly good kick to the face on Alex Bassine when Spain's federation was right there. Alex didn't do anything to deserve getting kicked in the face.
no,
Should have saved
no.
that kick and given it to Spain.
Yes, or just to Luis Rubiales and UEFA and FIFA and all the above. News from Doug Robertson this morning. Gigi has returned to training with Atlanta United. Yes, so he has returned.
They're playing
They ain't
Norway,
done.
I believe.
I was going to say they ain't done.
Because if they draw Norway, Scotland secures a spot in the Euros.
So here's
interesting.
Yes,
because he only played like 15 or 20 minutes.
Yeah,
in their first game.
I'm trying to see. I do not see a Euro plan for Greece. Georgia is, however, at Norway at 2:45. So
I'm sorry. What the hell? I'm sorry. I was thinking Saba. Georgia's playing Norway.
Georgia's got Norway.
Greece might be done. I am very sorry. I got my.
You got your G's messed up.
No, I did, and I don't know how I did that. That's embarrassing. Yeah, Georgia is playing Norway, with a chance to put Scotland in the Euros.
Yeah, because
Greece is done, I think.
Yeah, here's your standings.
How dumb.
Greece's Group B, and they're 6 points back right now with the Netherlands still having to play their fifth match. Group A, Scotland, Spain, Norway, Georgia, Cyprus. That's your group. Scotland's played 5 matches, and they're at 15 points. They are right now, they're 5 for 5. They've only given up 1 goal. And Spain right now is the one that's only played 3 matches. They've got 6 points. Top 2 teams advance. Georgia and Norway, even at 1-1 and 2. 2 losses, 1 draw, 1 win. Georgia is behind on goal difference. Norway's at -2. Georgia's at -7. So literally, if something happens, or literally, if nothing happens, then Scotland really is in the catbird seat. If Norway and Georgia say draw, they're at 5 points each, and then it turns into what it turns into. And Cyprus, obviously, they've only scored twice and have a goal difference of -9, having lost 4. Greece has played their 5th match, 3-0 and 2, and they are right now, since they've played 5 matches, Netherlands still have to play that 5th match. 3-0 and 1, 9 points. Greece is right now with their 5th match, 9 points ahead on goal difference. So this is all the fun stuff. This is all the fun stuff going on right now today. So your Euro update for the day. Belgium, big favorite, and this is once again courtesy of our friends at Odds Portal who give us the composite. Belgium, big favorite today against Estonia. Israel, a -227 hosting Belarus. And this is all the stuff that happens at 2:45. Then you have Italy, big favorite at home against Ukraine at a +572. Nick's presence has been requested to discuss what's been going on with Italy. Malta is a dog at home to North Macedonia, who's a -135. Norway's a -400 hosting Saba at a +1200. Romania's a +108 hosting Kosovo. Spain, a -10,000. I think that's as high as it goes in Odds Portal. Spain's a -10,000 hosting Cyprus. Sweden is a +162 and probably the match of the day. Sweden and Austria. Sweden's a +162. Austria's a +175 in the composite. And Switzerland is a -5,000 hosting Andorra at a +5784. You also have Albany, Czech Republic, and the Faroe Islands and Poland. Tomorrow it is Portugal, Slovakia, Poland, Moldova is on the 15th. And then Poland, Czech Republic is on the 17th. So your standings, we talked about what it's like in Group A and Group B. You have France. I feel like I have to do it in Stevie's voice. They're done for a month. Netherlands, once again, they get France on the 10th, the October 13th. Greece is third. They're done. They get Ireland next. And Greece has a chance to really have Ireland fishing around in 4th, trying to get something done. Everybody beats Gibraltar, and that was where Ireland got their points. Group C, England, done for this window. They get Italy October 17th. 13 points to 7 right now for Ukraine. Yes.
Yeah, we get Scotland, England today. That's kind of like an anniversary thing, celebrating the first time they played in the 1800s.
I'm trying to
that'll be really probably boring, but I kind of hope he gets drunk.
Well, I don't think anything can match Monday Night Football. So we got you got.
Man, that was.
Yes, it was. Italy's got 3 matches. They've hit each column. They're 1-1-1. They've got Ukraine today. Italy 4 points in 3 matches, and North Macedonia is got Malta, so they've got a chance to climb up the table too. So it looks like it's going to be 3 teams for that one spot and second spot in Group C. Group D, Croatia and Turkey. They are right now tied at the top of Group D. They've got a month before they meet. Armenia and Wales are tied at 7 points. And then Armenia gets Latvia, who's lost all 5 in a month's time. And Wales' next match is on the 15th of October when they get Croatia. So Group D is going to be fun. Group E also has its parts of fun, but they're off. They're done, and they're back in a month. Albania, Czech Republic, 10 points, 8 points. Czech Republic are ahead of Moldova on goal difference. Moldova gets Poland in a month's time. And our friends at the Faroe Islands, who got to draw the last time out with Moldova, they get Poland in a month's time. Group F, Belgium and Austria, they're the 1-2 right now, both at 10 points. Sweden is third. We mentioned Belgium playing Estonia today, and Austria is playing Sweden today. So 1 versus 4 and 2 versus 3. Austria, 10 points. Sweden at 6 points. And Estonia and Azerbaijan, both identical. This is wild. After 4 matches, they both have 3 losses, and their goal difference is -9. They both have scored the same number of goals, and they've given up the same amount. It's going to have to go to like yellow card tiebreakers and stuff at this point if that keeps up. Group G, Hungary and Serbia. They play next month. Montenegro's at 8 points. They're third. Their next match will be on the 17th of October, taking on Serbia. Bulgaria, Lithuania, they play in October. So Group G is basically done. Group H has 6 teams, including our friends from San Marino, who have yet to score. And San Marino gets Northern Ireland in a month. Do they score against Northern Ireland in October, Jarrett?
No.
And the other 4 teams in the group are separated by 1 point, believe it or not. And they all play. One plays 3. Slovenia plays Finland in October, and Denmark plays Kazakhstan in October. Group I has 6 points, 6 teams. Switzerland, Romania right now, you're 1-2. Israel hanging in there at number 3. Portugal has run the – go for it.
I know nothing about, like, the national stadium of Kazakhstan.
Yeah.
But given the geography, I feel like it is a potential for being an incredibly hostile place to play.
Yes.
Let's go look that up.
Yeah, there might be Astana, so keep an eye on it. See if it's there. Portugal, Slovakia. Portugal's run the table in Group J because it's Slovakia, Luxembourg, Bosnia.
It is Astana, right?
So they're playing. Arena. They're playing on that welcome mat in Astana. When you go to Kazakhstan, literally you're playing on a welcome mat. Seriously. I mean, it is not your standard spongy turf. Literally, it's like a welcome mat. It's like playing at Three Rivers Stadium back in the 70s in Riverfront.
Yeah, it's like playing on the Georgia Dome turf.
Yes.
Before it got fancy.
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
but yeah, Group J is Portugal, Slovakia, Luxembourg, and everybody beats up on Bosnia, Herzegovina, Iceland, and Liechtenstein. So that's where we are. That's your Euros. A lot of stuff going on at 2:45 today, and that's your Euro update, sponsored by no one. So you gotta keep all of that. Yes, the explicit rating was achieved early on. 4-card more evening BAM. Yes, Georgia. Yeah, and we'll get into 777 and Everton a little later in the show, BAM, because of all of the other stuff that's going on. Once again, continuing the end of our international nightmare, Jamal Chiade trained by himself Sunday and Monday. Today is his first day training with Atlanta United. Luis Abram and others are returning tomorrow along with others. So, yes, Jamal Chiade is, in fact, training for Atlanta United. Our long international nightmare is over and has taken a next step. Portugal got a big win yesterday, and you want to talk about racking up goal difference yesterday. Croatia wins 1-0. Slovakia wins 3-0 at a minus 5,000. Portugal put 9 on Luxembourg yesterday at a minus 1,250. Wales won at a minus 200 against Latvia and Iceland and Bosnia and Herzegovina. They all beat up on each other in the low part of that Group J. So that was what you were getting with the Euros. What I wanted to kind of get into a little bit this morning, in addition to everything, was what's going on at Juve. And it's more than just Paul Pogba. Paul Pogba failed a drug test, or according to the Telegraph, he failed a drugs test. I guess they believe in the Queen's English. Paul Pogba failed a drug test yesterday, leaving him facing the threat of a career-ending doping ban. Handed a precautionary suspension after testing positive for a banned substance, reportedly testosterone, on the opening weekend of the Serie A season. Juve put out a statement. Footballer Paul Labille Pogba received a precautionary suspension order from the National Anti-Doping Tribunal following the results of tests carried out on August 20, 2023. The club reserves the right to consider the next procedural steps. This is when they go to the B sample. And if the B sample also tests positive, he faces a 2-year ban unless he shows the result is unreliable or that he bears no responsibility for it. Basically, that ain't mine. Or you sit there and you attack the test or the testing procedure or something like that. And eventually this probably ends up going to CAS. Pogba will continue to play. If he's proven to have intentionally doped, suspension gets doubled. Man, Paul Pogba's only 30. I thought he was older than that. I guess it's because he's been around for a dozen years or so. But, yeah, he's only 30. Pogba, it came up the same day that he had an interview published where he said he considered retiring from football over alleged extortion and threats from an organized gang, including his older brother, Matthias. You remember that? The drugs test itself, according to the Telegraph, carried out on the day that Juve beat Udinese. He was an unused substitute in that match, came off the bench following week in the draw at home, and in the 2-1 win against Empoli last weekend. Pogba's failed test, according to our friends at the Telegraph, is the latest in a litany of setbacks for a player for whom United paid a world record £89.3 million to re-sign from Juve 7 years ago. Left on a free for the second time in the summer of last year. Injuries limited his appearances, saw him miss the World Cup. But it was the alleged blackmail plot that had the biggest impact upon him before Monday's news. Pogba having filed a complaint with Turin prosecutors in July last year, claiming he was the target of a €13 million scheme that saw his brother detained 3 months later, but the latter denied all the allegations against him and was released in December under judicial review. Speaking to Al Jazeera about the impact the incident had on him, Pogba said, "When there is money, you have to be careful. Money changes people. It can break up a family. It can create a war. Sometimes I was just by myself thinking, quote, I don't want to have money anymore. I just don't want to play anymore. I just want to be with normal people so they will love me for me. Not for the fame, not for the money. Sometimes it's tough. This life, you have to go through it. It will only make me stronger." Article finishes from the Telegraph saying a number of drugs and medications contain testosterone, a hormone which can provide increased muscle size and strength, including faster recovery from physical exertion. I don't want to have money anymore. I just want to be with normal people so they'll love me for me. He's turning into Randy Moss. I love me some me. Nick says he didn't even know they did doping tests in soccer. He said he's not going to lie. You just don't hear about it. Because presumably everybody tests negative until you get a situation like Paul Pogba. Paul Pogba and Juve. I mean, at 30, allegedly, doing these kinds of things. Jerry, we got to get Nick in here to talk about this kind of stuff.
Yeah, man, I mean, Paul Pogba's just gonna have a really weird legacy.
Mm-hmm.
That's just kind of where it is, man.
Yeah.
Because, um, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna be stupid.
Yes.
It's going to continue to be stupid.
Yes.
Because yeah, he's 30 and kind of feels like he should be 36 at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
in a decade as a professional, he's lived 15 plus years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this is what is known as the Joe Cocker approach. It's not highly recommended,
No.
but yeah, it feels like Pogba's lived like 15 plus years of his career at this point in the
Yes.
span of like a 10.
I know.
It's a lot.
Yeah. And he wasn't the only thing that happened yesterday at Juve. Fabrizio Romano said this: Leonardo Bonucci is going to initiate legal action against Juve. Quote, lack of adequate training conditions available to him, damage of image and professional nature. Any gainings will be donated by Bonucci to the Neuroland charity supporting family of children's hospitalized in Turin. So Bonucci now is, so you've got Paul Pogba at Juve, who has a positive drug test for apparently testosterone, and now Bonucci mad at training conditions available to him, and he's going to sue. He's initiating legal action against friggin' Juve. What is going on?
Juve just wants a normal day. Juve wants to wake up in the morning to a quiet house, to go have a cup of coffee on the back porch, and just not have to speak until they're ready, which is the dream. Like you want to like make a cup of coffee, make some breakfast.
It's like you want your
And
kids to be quiet.
you do not have to stress your vocal cords until you feel compelled to do so. And Juve is not going to get that convenience.
Juve is like the mom with the young kids, and all the mom wants is just her moment of zen where she can sit in the corner, have her coffee, maybe read for a little bit, and it's like the like when we were all young, and it's like Labor Day or something. It's a holiday, and we're all just hopping around the house. Jared, you know of this. That literally, this is Juve right.
God, every day of my existence
Yes.
is getting ready to entertain. So
Mm-hmm. You
yeah.
want that moment of peace. You want to
What
be
you want, what but I'm going to tell this to Juve. What you want and what you get are often not the same thing. That's okay. Just make peace with it.
Yes. Bonucci believes he was the victim of insufficient training and preparation conditions which caused professional and image damage. And that's why he's at Union Berlin. You didn't give me enough training or preparational, you didn't give me the chance to train the way that I wanted to train. And so that has caused me professional and image damage. And that's why I'm at Union Berlin right now. Really? Really? Really, yo?
Okay.
Uh-huh. His last few months at the club resulted in the damage of his professional and personal image. And you're going, okay, sure. And I'm going to I'm going to go to the 3-letter paper because we've seen the reputable sources in this, Fabrizio Romano and Gianluca Di Marzio. So, okay, so they at least reference Di Marzio. The 3-letter paper references Di Marzio. Bonucci alleges he was not given access to the Serie A club's gym, swimming pool, or restaurant, and adds that he was made to train away from the rest of the squad. Well, when you ain't starting, yeah, I mean, come on now. Not to be seeking personal gain from legal action, sees it more as a matter of principle. Told the club's YouTube channel, when I stop playing next year, it will be the end of a defensive era. Then he paid tribute to Chiellini, Barzagli, and Buffon. I hope lots of future defenders, just as we had Baresi, Maldini, Nesta, Cannavaro, will see us for as idols. Initially joined Juve from Bari in 2010. 502 appearances. Unused substitute during Union Berlin's 3-0 defeat to Leipzig prior to the international break. And is yet to make his debut for the Bundesliga side. So Union Berlin basically picked him up and they ain't played him yet. And so now Bonucci is suing Juve over not being able to use the gym, not being practiced appropriately, I guess, and then he's not able to apparently eat at the restaurant on campus. Lack of adequate training and preparation conditions. This is what Juve is right now. To say that it is a dumpster fire might be insulting dumpsters. I don't know. But that is where we are currently with Juve. So, not recommended if you are not recommended if you're a club. We've got a lot of other stuff here in the news. So, Jared, did you see the stuff with Hugo Perez yesterday?
Where he cut a promo on a reporter?
Yes.
He was not happy. Which,
no.
Again, this is also South America. Cultures are different. And Hugo Perez has zero hesitation to pull out the largest blade he can find, which he is going to keep in hammer space, but within reach.
Yes.
Which is his prerogative, because he's possibly insane. That's okay. Because you know what, at the end of the day, that's one of those things where, again, culturally, I feel like we are much more embracing of a South American manager who is clinically insane. We expect it. And it's not just Bielsa.
No.
But we expect that insanity. Whereas with a European manager, we don't. And I feel like sometimes we pigeonhole our national team managers and our managers based on where they're from. Like, we set these preset prejudices that, oh, he's a South American manager, he's probably absolutely nuts. Oh, he's a German manager, he's probably tactically, rigid and a firm believer in this almost like to a second level, punctuality and system. Like, no, people can be different. You can have insane managers in Europe. You can have, stuffy, uptight South American managers. Like, sure, that's the stereotype we've built for a lot of it. Doesn't have to be across the board, though.
So right now it appears that El Salvador's national team is trying to negotiate the exit for Hugo Perez as the head coach in El Salvador. And so we know Hugo Perez, he'll cut a promo and not think twice about it. So yesterday, and in Nations League, disappointing results, Copa coming up. And so yesterday, the national team, the Soccer Federation, came out with a statement in El Salvador. It said the Normalization Committee, which is kind of scary in and of itself when you call yourself the Normalization Committee. Normalization Committee of the Salvadoran Football Federation, with the support of the director of the national teams, have begun negotiations with the coaching staff of the senior team to end the contractual relationship. This was yesterday afternoon. These negotiations began this morning after analyzing various technical and supporting aspects. It reflects the disappointment and frustration caused by the team's recent failures. La Selecta, 23 Gold Cup, didn't get out of the group, diminishes their chances for qualifying for Copa America. Still in contention in Nations League. They're at the bottom of Group A in the CONCACAF Nations League. And I legitimately cannot remember where I've ever heard this in a sentence before. Must-win situation against Martinique.
Sometimes you're down bad. Sometimes you can't explain it.
I legitimately, I'm like, I cannot remember, and this is in a month. So that the match against Martinique is in a month. But so it looks like Hugo Perez and his staff, they ain't going to get there. Advancement to the quarterfinals, excuse me, would also depend on match results. They're going to have to restart their journey when Perez is exited and they had everything squared away. So Perez yesterday had a press conference. I want to say it's yesterday because the video came out like middle of the afternoon yesterday. So
He is what we would call embattled.
Yes. So. And so he goes up to a reporter. And this reporter, I'm guessing, has probably been, he's been on top of Hugo Perez the entire time, and he's just been launching whatever at him. And so,
well, if Hugo's going to be out the door, you might as well look. You're going to be out the door anyway.
And yeah,
might as well throw a couple jabs.
Yes, and so Hugo Perez threw a lot more than jabs at this one Karsten Rivas. And so let me see if I want to get the quote correct because he had the presser. And then he goes up to this reporter and just let him absolutely have it with both barrels. And hang on, I want to and I want to get this wording correct because I mean Hugo Perez let the guy have it. So he goes up to the reporter. He goes up to Karsten Rivas and he says, "Quote: Let me tell you something. I feel like L.A. Knight. Let me talk to you. I know you don't like me, and that's okay. And this was all caught on camera. It's out there. But if you are really Salvadorian, tell the truth. You have the power to do. Whether I stay or go, do it. However, don't lie because that is a sin." He tells that to this reporter, and I mean literally gets out from the table, goes behind the table, finds the guy, goes right to his face, says it, and then his last move as he's walking away, he takes his right hand, because I guess Hugo's right-handed. He takes his right hand and he taps the reporter on the back of the neck a couple times after he said his piece. Literally, however, don't lie because that is a sin. And on the video, you see Hugo Perez at that point take his right hand, tap the guy on the back of the neck a couple times, and he's exit stage right. And the reporter's looking at him like, bruh. Literally, the reporter's looking at him like, I mean, and Hugo Perez had his index finger at the guy's chin as he's saying all this stuff, taps him on the back of the neck, and the reporter in question just is kind of looking as Perez exits. I mean, this is.
Well, yeah, like the guy just got in your face and cut a promo. What are you gonna do? March up to him and try and keep it going? You'll let him walk away. He's not going to turn around. He's not going to come back for a second helping. This isn't Whole Country Buffet.
But I mean, it was.
You got out of that without getting punched in the face. That's a good day, man.
Yes, it is. And so there are others who are saying, Hugo Perez is trying to attempt to change players' mindsets during call-ups. And you have also Perez, who is fighting against the lack of basic amenities, apparently, when it comes to, getting things to have to function for La Selecta. So this kind of an uphill battle is, I guess, what we refer to as a big-ass uphill battle for anybody that wants to take on the El Salvadorian job. But hat tip to Jose Mauricio Umaña from WTOP up in D.C. for that video. And you're like, man. And this is what folks are talking about Hugo Perez. And David said he was just on the Scuff Pod. Thought it sounded pretty well together. Tafka says Hugo is twice the coach Berhalter is, in his opinion. And so you've got, see, and tomorrow, I get the impression Now, I get the impression tomorrow at 10:30, because apparently Bart is on the road and we're supposed to guess where he is tomorrow, Jarrett, that Bart is probably going to be brought into this discussion about Hugo Perez. And it's the whole idea of Perez, Ben Olsen, and 3GB initially for the national team gig. It goes to Berhalter, and then especially for round 2, where Berhalter was he had his contract renewed. Now folks are going to bring up Hugo Perez all over again. But man, I mean, it takes a special kind of skin to be in a situation like that and go right up to the reporters like, man, I'm out the door, but tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that everybody that is within the sound of my voice and gets to see this stuff knows how I really feel. Hugo Perez is definitely not one to sit there and mince words toward anybody, especially if he's out the door, which he probably is.
Yeah, he's he's probably out the door, so he's gonna say his piece and gonna walk out. That's gonna be it. Nothing really else to take away from him. Yeah, he's not the first or the last manager that we have ever seen decide to absolutely get up in somebody's face as the cards are all collapsing.
Yes.
He's not the first. He's not the last. That's okay. Just kind of roll with it, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess that's my thing. Is I'm kind of like, it's okay. Hugo Perez did a thing that other guys have done, but we love it in the era of social media, and everything is instantly available to us. And like I said, when we react to it differently when it is a player from when a coach from Latin America does it, than I think from a player or a coach from Europe does it.
Yeah.
It's just we expect that fire.
Yes. And since we're on the thoughts of national team coaches, Florian Plettenberg over at Sky Germany caught up with Louis van Gaal. And apparently Louis van Gaal is linked to the Germany gig. And so Van Gaal tells Plettenberg, quote, "I'm honored to be named as one of the candidates, but no foreigner has ever been chosen for the position of the national team coach in Germany." So Louis van Gaal is deciding to throw his hat in the ring. Nagelsmann and Van Gaal look like they are kind of wanting to throw their hat into the ring for the Germany gig after the dismissal of Hansi Flick. Rudi Völler is now for the interim. Jurgen Klopp is the dream candidate. But, yeah, Louis van Gaal. Now, technically, is this Louis van Gaal throwing his hat in the ring, or is he throwing his hat in the ring knowing that somebody's going to throw it back?
It's possibly that. He's also possibly he's hedging in the sense of being able to put his name out there, but then he's got a ready-made excuse when he doesn't get the job. Well, I put my name out there and I would have done it. I would have done a great job, but they don't hire people from the Netherlands. So, I was never going to be seriously considered. So he set himself up here. He's hedged on both sides here. He's playing both sides, so he always comes out on top.
Yes.
Because if he does get it, then he can go back and scream, They've never hired someone like me. Look at this. Look how amazing and magical.
Yes. Look at how
brilliant it is.
Outside the box and brilliant they are by hiring someone who is not German.
And when they don't hire him, he can point and, oh, well, it's because they never hire anybody. So I never really had a chance, even though I was willing to, taking on this this persona of I am going to do them this solid by coaching their national team.
Yeah, I'll help you out. I'll do. I'll help you out a little bit. Nagelsmann's considered to be the favorite, linked to Chelsea and Spurs. However, he's technically under contract.
At what point do we just get over the damn thing and go call Jurgen Klopp?
Well, Klopp, as a part of this, Klopp, they said that he's the dream candidate. They say that he's the dream candidate for the big, but the FA is widely recognized as being unattainable in the short term. Lothar Matthäus even claimed back in 2020 Klopp was the only person who was wanted to replace Jogi Löw. When he was asked about the prospect, Klopp told Sky Germany, the job of national coach is and would be a great honor. There's no question about that. The problem that stands in the way of the whole thing is my loyalty. Basically, it's an interesting job, but I don't know yet whether I'll do something completely different after I leave Liverpool. I want to keep my options open.
I hope he goes and like starts. I want him to pick the weirdest possible thing after he coaches Liverpool just to throw everyone off of his scent. Like Jurgen Klopp leaves Liverpool in the middle of the night. We don't know where he went,
Moving
and we find we're not even that. I hope we find him in like colonial Williamsburg, like cosplaying as like a German immigrant.
He's an extra from the movie Accused.
Yeah. He just shows up churning butter somewhere in colonial Williamsburg, just completely off the grid.
That'd be awesome.
Pops back up there. He's gonna get found out, and then he's got to go find and do something else. Next thing you know, he's like working as a
Comic Con.
He's like working as a best boy on a Darren Aronofsky film. Like he's just gonna wander around like he's in a Jack Kerouac novel.
And that'd be a hell of a book, by the way. Nagelsmann apparently is still under contract at Bayern, as outlined by Bild, and should the DFB look to appoint him, they'd be obliged to pay a fee to Bayern, and that could be a stumbling block to his appointment. And everybody mentions Van Hall.
Jurgen Klinsmann's right there too, guys.
Oh no, I thought he was still. Well, I mean,
he's at Korea now. I think
right.
in name only. I think he is kind of like let. I think he's kind of like thrown down the. I think he's kind of like thrown down the flag as to say like, yeah, I'm not gonna stay here. This ain't for me. Klinsmann sold him a bill of goods. And
that never happens.
What if I told you it didn't work out?
Yeah. Van Hall recently said, quote, I don't normally train at a club anymore, but a promising country still has a chance to convince me.
Yeah, as Ricky pointed out, he hasn't won a single game.
So he's at least he's consistent. I mean, come on. Oliver Glasner's on the list, apparently.
When you're doing worse than Hugh Freeze.
Oh, man. Oh, but Hugh Freeze is getting paid, though. Despite all
Jimbo.
Thank you.
Jimbo's getting paid to get like slapped with a dead fish by Miami.
Yes, and they got plenty of those. Looks like Oliver Glasner, Matthias Sommer, they are a part of the list as well. Glasner led Eintracht Frankfurt to a Europa League title in 22, impressed at Wolfsburg, currently at unattached FC. And former Germany central midfielder Matthias Sommer has not been in management since 2005. Was in the Borussia Dortmund for 4 years, including the O2 League title, spent a year in Stuttgart. However, despite his willingness to be available for the role, the DFB are likely to opt for a coach who has greater contemporary experience. That's the easy way of saying dude hadn't been a head coach since 2005. I think you can find something better. So, but yes, Jurgen Klinsmann has not won a single match as the head coach of Korea. Congratulations to you, sir. You're doing a fine job. Good Lord. Fine job, sir. Why? I mean, he must just win the press conference like nobody's business. I mean, he probably has like some PowerPoint presentation or something. I don't know. But I don't know how he continues to win the presser and then not win a match.
Every sport has their grifters.
Yeah, absolutely.
He is this one's just chief grifter. And the thing about the grifters is it's kind of like playing hot potato when you don't have the hot potato. It's a lot of fun to watch because Like, this is tremendous content, and then my hands aren't getting burned.
Yes.
Korea, when you move on from him,
Yes.
and you will,
Yes, you will.
we will open a seat at the table. You can come sit at the table with us, and you too can laugh and point Jurgen Klinsmann. And you'll get mad when he like shades your federation and shades your national team. And,
Oh, I didn't get the resources I was promised.
yeah, and you'll get mad about that, and then you just have to learn to kind of laugh about it and just kind of look back on it. Like, you know what, that was a lesson learned. It was a lesson learned in my life, and I'm a better person for it. That's okay, because we're all about growth here. We're all
Yes.
about positivity. We're all about forgiving and being kind to ourselves, and we're about growth, and we're about making sure that Jurgen Klinsmann doesn't burn us twice.
Yes. Absolutely. So do you turn into a pumpkin and head into the real world now?
Yes, I do.
All right. So we will all have a seat at the table. We'll all point and sit there and laugh and snicker and share stories about Jurgen Klinsmann, and Korea will be next. So you're back.
1,000%.
Yes. Tomorrow is Dylan at 10 and Bart at 10:30. Are you dropping by?
That is the game plan. We'll see.
Excellent.
I'm going to try and make that happen. We'll see what happens.
Good deal. Jarrett Smith, everybody. That's hour number one with Jarrett. Jarrett has come by and he's talked stuff like he always does. And Ricky, if Korea doesn't make the World Cup, I'm going to be pissed. Watch him. Well, tell you what, guarantee you this is what might happen. The way that we've been kind of laying the story out, Klinsmann doesn't win a match with Korea. He gets fired. Whoever they bring in gets them to the World Cup. That's probably how it happens. It's something out of lane 8. They bring in this hire. They get rid of Klinsmann. They bring in some hire, and everyone talks about it being a breath of fresh air and how amazing it is, and all of these other things that happen. And whoever that hire is after Klinsmann gets them into the World Cup. That's just me. That's what I think is going to happen anyway. So, that's my 2 cents. We can all sit at the table and snicker at Jurgen. Today in Nations League, since we were talking about Hugo Perez, 3:30, Group B, French Guiana, Belize, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Bermuda. French Guiana is a big favorite. Bermuda's a favorite on the road at SVG. Those are at 3:30. 4 o'clock in League A, Cuba and Suriname. Suriname's a road favorite at a plus 131. League C, Turks and Caicos hosting Dominica. Dominica's a minus 217 on the road. 6 o'clock, Guyana, Bahamas. Guyana, big favorite at a minus 10,000. 7:06, Puerto Rico and Antigua and Barbuda. Puerto Rico's a minus 185 in League B. League A, Jamaica's a minus 152 hosting Haiti at 8:06. And Honduras, big favorite, hosting Grenada at 10:10 in League A. And that is, all of those are on Paramount Plus. So Paramount Plus has been showing a lot of this stuff, and it's been fun to catch up on a lot of the smaller nations in CONCACAF. Just so you know, ACC Network has Michigan State, Notre Dame at 8. BN has AFCON qualifying at 3. FS2 has a couple of friendlies, Azerbaijan and Jordan at noon, Scotland, England, 2:45, like Jarrett was talking about. They also have the Canadian Premier League at 6. The Halifax Wanderers are hosting Cavalry. Remember, Nova Scotia is an hour ahead because they're in the Maritime, so it's a 7 o'clock local kick. USA and Oman's at 8:30. We'll talk about that tomorrow with Bart Keeler. We'll talk about Hugo Perez tomorrow. We'll talk about Berhalter tomorrow. We'll talk about everything on your mind tomorrow. And I know that Tafka had some stuff he posted in the Twitch pitch. Repost it when Bart comes in tomorrow. Mexico and Uzbekistan tonight is at 7:30. That's when the broadcast starts on 2 to NA. That is local, by the way. For those of you who are here in the Atlanta area, Mexico and Uzbekistan is at Mercedes-Benz. So we'll get a quick peek at that and see what that looks like for that friendly. World Cup qualifying on Universo at 4. Bolivia and Argentina is on Universo, and then USA and Oman's at on 8:30. Univision has Mexico and Uzbekistan. ACC Extra has college soccer. The Plus has San Antonio FC and Tapatio is a friendly at 8:30. A lot of men's soccer all the way starting at 4 and going through 10. Fanatis on the pay-per-view side, fntz.co/soccer down here does not get you the World Cup qualifying, doesn't get you CONMEBOL qualifying. That's another pay-per-view option. Drat it. Triple header. Venezuela, Paraguay at 6. Chile, Colombia, 8:30. Peru, Brazil at 10. Fox Soccer Plus has Euro at 2:45. Paramount Plus has 8 games in CONCACAF Nations League in the group stage. So if you're looking for CONCACAF Nations League, just go straight to Paramount Plus. Pay-per-view is Ecuador, Uruguay at 5. Peacock is also airing USA and Oman at 8:30. Vox is airing a lot of the Euro 2024 qualifying. They've got 9 matches starting at 2:45 on Vox. That's got to be VIX, not Vox. And then international men's friendly, Scotland, England, Germany, France at 2:35 and 2:50. So that's your viewing habits for today. Since it is the halfway point of the show, and we are going to get into, what else do I have on my list? Everton, we're getting into that. Bam, if you're still awake. Sir Jim Ratcliffe, FIFA, NWSL, 3GB on Bruce Arena, The Guardian and FIFA, and praising gentlemen who have no business being praised, and stuff in the involving the USLPA and Central Valley and Lex SC. Some ugly scenes in Fresno that have made social media that we'll talk about as well. And Danny Masofsky from Tommy Scoops with what's going on with his contract situation at RSL. And that is what we're looking at in hour number 2. But because it is the end of hour number 1, it means one thing. It means that I've got to fix the music and read a promo. Road to free, clean, fresh air. One place you need to go. It's a Lemonize service. QR code over my left shoulder for those of you watching on Twitch and on Facebook and on Twitter. Lemonize service deodorizes enclosed spaces like houses, apartments, and condos. They've created a customized solution that eliminizes all organic odors, including those like pet cigarettes and food. Realtors and property managers use the Lemonize service to eliminate bad odors to help them sell or rent their homes that much faster. Offering a turnkey process, like I said, sounds good. If it works, great. I don't know what it means in real estate terms. Offering a turnkey process makes it easy to work with said realtors and property managers. Kind of the environment that I do know about. Very, very green way of going about things to get rid of odors without any kind of toxic residue whatsoever. Different than Febreze or our favorite masking agents that we have either beneath us in the sink or above us in the cupboard, because when we reach beneath us in the sink or above us in the cupboard, then what we end up doing is we take that masking agent out, spray it into the air. There's a reason they call it a masking agent. Because all it does is mask the odor. It does not attack the problem like our friends at Lemonize Service do with their proven scientific formula. Pricing very, very easy, either by the cubic foot or parts per million, to come up with a price that's affordable for you. Offering results in 24 hours or less. If you have any questions, frequently asked or otherwise, one place you need to go, and that's the website, lemonize.com. But do us a favor, after the .com, where I grab my pen, go /Atlanta so they know what part of the world that you are addressing them from so they can help you with your issues. Full homework assignment, ELIMINIZE.com /Atlanta, lemonize.com /Atlanta. Lemonize Service, proud sponsors of everything SDH on your Tuesday Thoughts. As I sit here and try and sort out things that might have been going on while I was reading a promo. New Chief Marketing Officer for Red Bulls New York, Elisa Padilla, worked with the Marlins, Apple, the Nets, Barclays Center, HBO, and AT&T Mobile. She's also going to oversee the club's marketing and communications. Alexi Bissetta has a piece up for The Guardian about Rubiales' resignation as a start. Simply cannot be the end if there's going to be real change. So that's it for hour number 1. Let's see when things change here with the music. It was about at 8. I'm trying to do the gradual fade thing, and it doesn't quite work. So we'll see what happens. Teams at the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta training facility, Atlanta United, getting ready for their match this weekend against some guy named Messi and his buddies. Jamal Chiade is there. My guess is that if he is fit, he will probably come in with 15 or 20 to go, and he'll run around and he'll cause havoc. Yorgos Giacomakis in training this morning. He is back from international duty. So let's see. What did you guys have to say in hour number 1 that I'm catching up on here? Yes, explicit rating achieved. Yeah, Bam, we are going to talk about Everton and 777 in this hour when we get into all the Premier League stuff. But to your point and your question, thoughts on the DraftKings parlay bet that they were promoting yesterday? I thought it was classless. And a reminder that I have my show ending that I thought about having yesterday on the end of the 9/11 show. I posted it independently on the network. So my coda on 9/11 is up on the network. You can listen to that. And that's how the show would have ended yesterday if I'd had the if I had not talked entirely too long about other things. We got to the 2-hour mark, and I'm like, well, crap. So what would have ended the show yesterday is up on the network. I thought what DraftKings did was classless. Basically, for those of you that don't know, DraftKings initially put up a parlay bet where if 3 New York area teams won, then you got a high and hearty handshake or something. I think it was the Nets. I think the Mets and the Yankees, and it was the Jets. So those 3, DraftKings thought it'd be funny to do a 9/11 parlay bet. Wasn't funny. So the DraftKings apologized, pulled it down, and shouldn't have done it in the first place. So there you go. We welcome in Nick Aliffi to hour number 2. Hello, Podna.
Oh, man. Do I have foul words to say to DraftKings?
Yeah, go for it. Well, I mean, we've already earned the explicit rating this morning, so go for it.
We did?
Yeah, we already earned it.
Good. Fuck them. Fuck them. That's what I got to say.
There you go.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope they get the anvil shoved up their asses, generally. And after that, I think we won the explicit content award for the show today.
Yes. Yeah. So that was about 100 pounds. No, don't be. No, I mean you are far more right on than I was. I tried to be diplomatic about it.
Look, man, my dad was supposed to be in the World Trade Center on 9/11. He had an appointment there. He was running late. I wrote a piece on this sort of my memories as it went through the day. I was at actually Air Defense School in Fort Bliss, Texas.
Yeah, people can go back and look at this at soccerdownhere.net, I believe.
Yes, they can. Yeah, and so and it is a very open and honest sort of essay about generally the experiences that I had on that day and what the base was like, and then also not being able to get in contact with my dad for a few days because the entire phone network in New York had been pretty much shut down.
Yeah.
This is what happens whenever you don't have diversity in your office. And diversity is not just a race and religion thing, it's also age thing, right? Like when you have an entire office space filled with 20-year-olds, not that there's anything wrong with 20-year-olds, because you got to have that vibrancy and that creativity that the youth bring. But at the same time, you need somebody in there that's got some gray in their heads, or none in my case, to be able to sit there and go, hey guys, just to run from the perspective of us who were created around the time of the cave drawings. You might not want to do this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it's something where I would like to know who above the age of 35 was in the room when this decision was made. Yes. And I would also like to know, I think they should publicly flog themselves with I don't know, like the old Cat o' Nine Tails from the old pirate movies. But I think there has to be something, something done here where, I would like to see DraftKings, because God knows they make a wall of money. Mm-hmm. Here's how you unfuck yourself, DraftKings. You take some of their massive profits and you say, you know what? We really screwed up. Unbelievably so. Not even quite, not even like in a small sense, like in a big, big way we screwed up, titanically.
Yeah.
So we're going to donate our entire profit all of our profits from September, right, which is of course the beginning of the NFL season, to the to 9/11 first responders, all the people who are surviving now with battling terminal cancers, which have been linked back to the debris from that day, and yeah, so we're donating all of our profits to 9/11 first responders. I think that's a pretty good start on making things right, because I believe in second chances, right? I'm sort of somewhat occasionally a generous guy. I think that's what they need to do. Just you need to write the fattest of fat checks, and that's probably a decent start. But until then, it's double barrels for both of you.
Yeah. And like I said, I posted my coda. It's on the web. I mean, it's on the network, so folks can listen to what I would have done yesterday. Wanted to bring you in to discuss what in the ever-loving blue hell is going on. With Juve, with both Pogba and Bonucci.
Yep.
And also with the national team apparently not having a whole lot of success against Macedonia. That was a request from Nick's yesterday, by the way. So you can go whatever direction you want to go first. You can go Euro or you can go Juve.
I'll start with Italy. When the U.S. missed the World Cup, when the U.S. missed the World Cup, I said that this was going to be like the U.S. men's national team was on a knife's edge on which direction they were going to fall.
Yep.
Which was, this could either set your program back by a decade, or this would be a springboard to something great. It seems to have been a springboard into mediocrity for the U.S. men's national team, because you had all the personal drama going on there, but you qualified for your World Cup. You made it to the knockout rounds, got decimated by the Dutch, but that's neither here nor there. The U.S. men's national team has still been very, very competitive. You have not lost that edge. Italy, on the other hand, went the other way. They fell into the program has been set back a decade. What is the most concerning for me are comments that have come out of the team where players have stated, yeah, we were really worried playing North Macedonia. Right? Italy was the team that was Germany's boogeyman for the longest time, right? Where Germany was, oh, God. All right, Bam. Bam's got to go to bed.
Hi, Bam.
So, all right, Bam, take care, man. Where teams like Germany and France, the minute Italy showed up on their doorstep, like, oh, God, these guys, they never go away. It's always a tough out. And Italy would go toe-to-toe with anyone in the world. Brazil, Argentina, it didn't matter. And the ethos was all built on this, we are stout defenders. We are hard-nosed. Yeah, we flop a lot, but the chances you're going to get against an Italy team are few and far between, so that any shot on goal was really seen as almost an achievement in itself. Until now, where it appears that the team has no heart. None. Like, where's the Gattuso for this? I forget the raw ability of Gigi Buffon, or the abilities of Cannavaro or Pirlo, or Inzaghi. You had Oriundi like Mauro Cremonesi. You had Gianluca Zambrotta. You had like a squad, Nesta. When you're forgetting names that are like all pro players, it really is something crazy. And that's just the World Cup winning side. we're not talking about Paolo Maldini, and we're not talking about Baggio and any of the other the cavalcade of stars that they had. They all had heart. They would all fight like crazy.
Yeah.
And now it's just kind of like, oh God, we're so scared of North Macedonia. Like, to me, that's the scariest thing. Because you have the dinosaurs who run Serie A, who take youth players, and we've talked about this time and time again, and farm them out to City C or City B, and they languish there until they're, like 25, 26 years old. And okay, now you can be called up to the first team. But we have no problem going and getting some 20-year-old from Portugal or some 20-year-old from France and bringing them in and starting. But our own kids, no, we're not doing that. And until that changes, you're not getting any of this stuff. Like the national teams, people have to understand, are like the fruit of the tree that is your league, right? So if your tree in this sort of example is not doing well, is sick, the fruit will wither. It will not ripen. It will just sit there in sort of a pre-ripened state and just drop dead.
Unless you have the magic melon from Dr. Daniel Sabah, who really helps with keeping your Cindy Crawford's face amazing.
Well, look, hey man, ain't nothing wrong with that. But the tree for Italy is Serie A, and it's poisoned at the moment. It's poisoned because there was a period of stagnation that existed for so long when all of the money players domestically got out. And when they all got out because of financial fair play, the economics of Calcio were exposed. And so you had the old school dinosaurs who said, oh, there's opportunity. And one thing my uncle always taught me, in chaos, there's opportunity. Mm-hmm. There was chaos. The dinosaurs saw opportunity, the old conservative guys, to step in and reassert their power. And they did exactly that. And so it stifled youth development. It stifled tactical development. There's no reason why somebody like De Zerbi should be plying his trade in England. He should be plying his trade in Italy, and he should be hired by one of the top clubs to be showboating and showing out. And that's not happening. Italy has, in my opinion, not much hope. And this is where you're really going to see who the true Italy fans are. All of us who, are born here in America and have for, decades said, nope, not a U.S. men's national team fan. I'm an Italian national team fan. Okay, this is your time. Put up or shut up. I mean, my stance is never changing. Never, ever. A Azzurri fan born, a Azzurri fan dead. It doesn't matter. I think that they've made the right choice on manager, but you show me any Michelin star chef dealing with rotten ingredients and they still aren't going to be able to make a top meal, and the players have to wake up. And this is the hardest thing you're ever going to find in life, ever. The toughest thing you will ever encounter in life, and I've figured this out over 43 years that I've walked this planet, is never external. It's always internal, right? You can have a tough outside life. You can have tough experiences. The toughest thing you'll ever encounter is internal. Internal doubt, your own internal fears, your own internal lack of motivation. No one else can change any of those things but you. And that's the toughest part, because you have to fight yourself. And that is the issue that the Italian national team is dealing with. They have to fight something within themselves. To hell with France, to hell with England, Germany, Austria. It doesn't matter. Poland, the US, Argentina. Nope. No one else is going to bring this out of the Italian national team but themselves. And Italy as a whole deciding we need to stand back up and reassert who we are. Not militaristically, not nationalistically, but as a footballing culture, who we are. And that's the thing that has to shake up. So I don't think that's happening anytime soon. Change does not happen quickly, if ever, in Italy. So that's one of the things that makes Italy great, is that you can go there and you're like, wow, this has been around for the past 2,700 years. Yep. Is it changing? Nope. Is it still used today? Yep. Cool. What about this recipe? This recipe was made 400 years ago. Any changes? Nope. Is it going to change? Nope. Is it still good? Yep. So, it's a culture that is built upon the past, reverence for the past, upkeep of the past. And that's tough to navigate when you need to look to the future. And so this is something that is not going to change anytime soon. I don't have a lot of prospects. I don't think the Italian national team is going to be here in the United States in the next World Cup. I don't see anything changing or developing. It's going to, if it does happen, I'll be shocked. But I think it's going to be 3 World Cups in a row for us that we're going to miss. But it's just part of the issue, and we're accepting Oriundi now, which I think is huge. People don't really talk enough about how Mauro Camoranesi was, Argentine born, but he went through the Iuris Sanguinis process and got dual citizenship by blood. Good for him. I think that's something that we have to do, and we are not developing players in Italy, and at a rapid enough pace to stock this team full of talent. I don't see that changing. You're going to have to go outside the border to do it. So you're going to have to be calling up on those of us here in the United States and Argentina and elsewhere who have dual citizenship and have a ferocious desire to represent the Azzurri. So I don't know. And as far as Juve goes, oh, God, where to begin?
Well, yeah, because we talked about Pogba failing a drug test, and we talked
Yep.
about Nucci suing
in
hour number 1.
Yeah, so all of this, and this is not Messi versus Ronaldo. This is not that conversation. But when Juve had an opportunity to sign Ronaldo, and they completely sold out to do it, and that means cooking the books. That means, really trying to keep, the older guys around for one last push to win the Champions League, because that's the forbidden fruit for them. They won the Scudetto for a decade straight. I mean, they dominated Serie A, much through the same way that Bayern does with the Bundesliga, which is they set up a system where they push on teams below them to sell their top prospects. Economically, the smaller teams are depressed, and they have to take any opportunity to make money that they can. So they farm out these players very quickly. And Juve is always there waiting to take advantage of these situations. And they dictate 100% of the terms. So for a long time, these teams just kept selling their best players to Juve, in much the same way that happens with Bayern. And they stagnated, right? They stagnated. They bought more players than they should have. They loaned a whole bunch out. Then they started getting into this sort of mercenary mindset where they took on a whole bunch of free transfers, right? Players who were out of contract coming in. And with Ronaldo, they, I'm trying to find a way to make it. I think it's pretty obvious that I'm a Juve hater. I don't think that's any, but they really bet the farm on Ronaldo leading them to a Champions League. And then they were over leveraged already. So they bet the farm on Ronaldo. Then they doubled that debt gambling on Super League. And so when Super League went bust and they failed to make Champions League, to win the Champions League over and over again, that is what broke them, and all the moves that they had to make to maintain that level of competition. I mean, look at the De Ligt, right? So when De Ligt left, they came to him. Juve had come to him prior to him leaving, and with these deals, these under the table deals, these shady deals. And De Ligt was like, "Yeah, no, I don't want anything to do with this, man." And they were like, "Okay, you can go." And so he left, right? And this, I somehow this got forgotten by everybody. That De Ligt was like, "Yeah, this is really shady. I'm out." But Bonucci, as I've said since minute one, this man is not a smart man. He's not. Bonucci, he is essentially a marionette that was worked by Chiellini and Buffon. His long ball delivery, exceptional. His ability to skip lines, accurately delivering passes downfield is exceptional. But his positioning is a disaster zone. And it took Chiellini telling him, okay, go here, go there. No, step forward, come back, go here. And essentially directing him like a puppeteer. That's why he was successful when Chiellini was there. And then when Chiellini was gone, Bonucci was exposed. But it goes further back than that. Because when Bonucci moved to Milan and celebrated in front of Juve after scoring, he thought he could go back like nothing was wrong. Like, what do you mean? Why is everybody mad at me? I don't understand. He's a stupid man. Okay? I don't care we won the Euros and he had the great "it's coming to Rome" moment. Awesome. Thank you, Booch. I appreciate that. But you're an idiot. And it shows up. His stupidity is the only thing consistent about him outside of the long ball delivery. That he celebrated in front of Juve fans and was shocked when Juve fans were not thrilled at his return. He is shocked when, Juve over-mortgaged themselves time and time again. And now he's having to be told, hey, look, man, you're not part of the long-term plans. What do you mean I'm not part of the long-term plans? Bro, you're in your 30s. Bye. Like, what do you think is going to happen here? He's not Pavel Nedved, okay, who has, who had a place up in the board area. He's not, he's not one of these other legends, he that was just expected to move up to the leadership level. They had no plans of keeping him around because Juve knows who he is. He's a mercenary at heart and a dumb one at that. You can't keep him around. And so now he is like, I didn't have adequate training opportunities. I was put in a position to fail. No, sucker, you got old. You just got old. You see this so often with athletes where age starts to take hold and they can't accept it. Why am I not able to do this? You're out of position. You over there. Yes, you were in a bad position that made me get out of position. And now I'm being blamed. No, sucker, you were old. You can't cover ground like you used to. And you didn't have the tactical awareness that your former cohort partner and Chiellini had. So now you're being exposed. And so now he's suing Juventus.
Uh-huh.
What a cataclysmically dumb idea from him, because he now has made it, which is already tenuous ground. If he had said, you know what, I'm retiring, I'm going to retire Juve, I'm going to work with Juve, I'm going to become a coach, I'm going to help kids, it's black and white for the rest of my life, fino alla fine, then he would have done so much to build up, to reinvigorate the goodwill in Torino. He didn't do that. Instead, he was thrown out the door, kicking and screaming like Jazz from Fresh Prince when Uncle Phil grabbed him, rest in peace, Uncle Phil, grabbed him and chucked Jazz out the door. That's what's happening to Bonucci, and he can't stand it. So now he's filing a lawsuit. Where are you going to go, Bonucci?
Well, he's at Union Berlin right now.
I don't get me. Stop. What's he doing after that?
Well, the thing is, he ain't playing right now at Union Berlin. He's sitting.
No. Yeah, because it becomes quite apparent. There are people. So let's for people who are newer to soccer, and maybe you grew up with football, like American football. Think back to Texas A&M with Johnny Manziel. Okay, Manziel was running around doing all this crazy stuff and chucking the ball downfield like behind his back, and somehow, some way, it would be completed. And so many people said, "Oh, Johnny Manziel's an amazing quarterback. My God, he's spectacular. He's the great hope. This small, speedy, white, athletic quarterback can just do all these. Oh my God, it's amazing." They never saw that it was Mike Evans, this freaking tower of a wide receiver with insane athletic ability, making cartoon catches in triple coverage.
True.
Where a ball should have been picked off time and time and time again, was saved for an unbelievable gain because Mike Evans was a generational talent at wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing with Bonucci on the back line. Bonucci played the role of Manziel, and for a long time, Juve people were like, "Oh my God, Bonucci's amazing. He can do this, he can do that." And he, at no point, developed the tactical acumen to carry the load after Buffon and Chiellini left. You have a keeper that's not like I'm sure they absolutely love. Szczesny loves living in Torino, loves playing at Juve, but he's not the leader Buffon was. He's not as good as Buffon was. Chiellini learned from some of the best to ever do it and had that tactical mindset where he could read the game exceptionally well and say, okay, move here, move there. And he moved the back line like chess pieces. And whenever he was gone, it was Bonucci, and Bonucci was exposed for being the idiot that he is and the mercenary that he is. And I have no problems watching this man trip over his own junk because he's that stupid. Firing shots in legal challenges while you're at Union Berlin. Hey, what? Because he's not thinking about the future. Mm-hmm. At some point, Italians return to Italy. They do. And he has left himself no home. He is now a man without a country. He can't go to Milan. He's hated with a fury in Milan. He can't go to Florence because he's Juventini. And you can't do anything wearing black and white in Florence. He can't go south because, where in God's name are you going to go? You can't go to Rome. You're hated in Rome. You can't go, anywhere you live, you're going to be hated. The best thing you can do, buddy, is find some little outcrop outside of Turin and just park yourself. Open up a little vineyard and just be quiet for the days going. But for Juve, it's Juve. I'm not shocked with the Pogba situation. That's for once. I'm not putting that on Juventus. Juventus, they know they're under a microscope. They're not going to go tell him, Paul Pogba, to juice up. I think, again, it's a matter of a grown-ass man having problems with this thing called age.
Yeah.
And not being the same player that he was, and instead knowing when to quietly walk off into the sunset, furiously trying to hang on for dear life. Good luck. You'll probably be banned for 4 years. It's the end of your career. Find something else to do. I don't know. But I don't think that's on Juve. But this is what happens though when you surround yourself with negative energy and negative activities. it becomes a stench and a stain that contaminates everything around it. And there's been a stench and a stain around Juventus for a very long time that led them to a lot of prizes. But there's always a price. There's always a cost of doing business. And Juventus and all the people stained with that stench are paying for it now. So, Ricky Ricardo asked, he says, Nick, I read somewhere that Venice is going to be charging tourists to visit soon to control the extreme tourism. Thoughts? I have no problem with it. Venetians don't live in Venice anymore. It's all businesses and Airbnbs and hotels, and they've really made it difficult for the locals to live there. That's not saying there aren't any. There are, dwindling by the day. But the main issue for the tourism is not really during the summer months when there's a massive, crazy crush. It's during like the fall and winter, which is the rainy season in northern Italy, and the floods hit. And so if you are ever in Venice and you're walking around and you see these tables everywhere, right? They look like the folding tables that like they're going to be unfolded for a picnic, like a massive, crazy outdoor feast. That's not the case. They're tables that are going to be the walkway that you're going to be walking on when the water's 2.5 to 3 feet deep. The city is not sinking, as what so many people have said. There's this little place called Romania, right? You may have heard of it before.
I've heard of it.
Yeah. When they were building Venice, they went and they cleared out the forests of Romania, and they brought all of these wood pillars, drove them into the lagoon mud where they were covered by mud and water, and they built upon those on those islands, right? These muddy little islands. They put these tree stumps down, and over time, the trees have become petrified, because they're underwater. They're in an anaerobic environment, and so they're not sinking down. It's what's happening is the water levels are rising, and the lagoon floods. And as the lagoon floods, the water just floods in, right? And so they have spent like 20 billion on the MOSES system, which is like inflatable gates that block the seawater, the Adriatic, from coming into the lagoon and slows the flooding area. It's what's called aqua alta. And so I think that when it comes to tourism in Italy, they're going to have to, because they can't survive without it.
Right.
You have to make it, you've invested too much money to preserve the city with the MOSES system, which is a cost overrun nightmare. Like we said, about 20 billion. So you have to recoup that money. You have to do constant updates and repairs to the city every time it floods. You have to make it so it's accessible via tour, so tourists can come and visit. All that costs money. It's no different, in my opinion, than Florida tolls. If you're going to Orlando for Disney or Universal, you pay just a ton of tolls in order to compensate for the wear and tear of this additional population influx that you get on a regular basis. It's no different for Venice, and they should, I think, apply that visitation fee. It's not going to be anything stupid, but it's going to be enough where the city can make some cash. And I think that's really what they need. And if you're a tourist and you are trying to go see Venice, you need to look. You could talk to a couple of people who've taken my advice on traveling to Italy, and they absolutely had an amazing experience. I'm pretty good at this. Hear my words. Do not stay in Venice. Do not stay in Venice.
Stay
no.
in
No. it is unbelievably expensive to stay in Venice. The restaurants, unless you go to one of these little hole in the walls, they're way overpriced. Go to Padova, which is 30-minute train ride away. Beautiful scenes, right? And the hotel rooms are about half of what they're going to cost in Venice. And then you could just take the train into Venice. You spend the day, you walk around, you can literally see everything you want in Venice in a day. And then whoosh, you're back out. And then you're in a cool university town, an unbelievable church that is there in Padova and St. Anthony's. And it is a very this Eastern European architecture that exists in that part of the country is just magnificent. The food is incredible. The people are unbelievably friendly. The hotel rooms are clean. They are very welcoming to tourists because they don't get a ton of them. So stay in Padova, take the train into Venice, put your €5 down for your visitation fee, and you're good to go. Jason Nix asked, does Weston McKennie have a chance to succeed at Juve? I don't think anyone has a chance to succeed at Juve. And that's just because as long as Allegri is there, you don't have a chance to succeed because it's Allegri's tactics over everything else. He doesn't care one bit. Allegri ball is we're going to score one goal and we're dropping everyone, including the coaching staff, the water boys, the reserves. Everybody is dropping back. He's become a frail, scared, sad man as he has grown older. He is unbelievably risk averse. And I think that being under a more progressive manager, if like Pirlo had stayed, I think would have worked wonders for Weston. I don't see that happening under Allegri. I'm sorry. He'll get some really good. He'll get some really good experience, but not being a part of European competition is going to hurt. Playing under Allegri is going to hurt, and I don't see really where the benefit from a playing perspective is for Weston and Weah. I'm sorry, I don't see that. I wish Weah had come to Milan. His dad, George Weah, was an absolute legend at Milan. But it is what it is, and he seems really happy to be at Juve. So I wish him nothing but the best. As long as his interests don't conflict with mine, may he do whatever it is that he's going to do. But no, Weston and Weah should not. No, I think both of them should leave as soon as humanly possible. Weah's obviously not going; he just got there. Mm-hmm. But Weston, I think, should. And I'm as far as where he goes, your guess is as good as mine. But Juve's kind of in a weird spot because they need Weston McKennie. They need Weah, but they don't necessarily want Weston. Weah has the name cachet that comes with being George Weah's son. So yeah, there's okay, all right, he's fine, but yeah, Weston, the fan base has been, from what I've seen, sort of split on Weston and what he brings to the table, but I would not wish any player a career playing under Massimo Allegri. He's become cowardly in his tactics, and he's become cowardly in how he approaches a game. Even against the most provincial of sides, it's still score one and then bunker. And he does that because he doesn't want to change anything. He believes that's the way to success. Scudetto's fine. Never saw any success in Champions League with that. So, if you are a Juve fan, I wish you the very best because it's going to be a tough couple of years for you.
A couple of other things in news and notes and stuff. Tonight, U.S. is taking on Oman and at Allianz in St. Paul. The original 21 field players, this is from Mike Woitala. We'll talk to Bart as a post-mortem tomorrow. 21 players, 5 didn't see action in the win over Uzbekistan. Miles, Kevin Paredes, Joe Scally, Benjamin Kromoski, Cade Cowell. Scally left camp for family reasons, replaced by DeJuan Jones. Matt Turner started against Uzbekistan before returning to England to be ready to take on Nottingham Forest opponents for the future and to be with his pregnant wife. Greg Berhalter announced Ethan Horvath is going to start against Oman. Quoting, he said, Ethan's going to play in goal tomorrow. That's pretty clear. We're going to mix up some players, but it will be a very similar lineup to what you saw last time. Christopher Lund made his debut and played 10 minutes. 3 others are looking for their first caps. Kevin Paredes, Benjamin Kromoski, and Drake Callender. Berhalter addressed the prospects of Kromoski seeing action. He says he fits in really well. He's a great kid, learns really quickly, adapting well to the speed of the game. Been great having him in camp. He's not going to start. We'd love to get him a debut. We just have to see how the substitutions work. You've got 6 subs in the game, so it became challenging to get everybody on the field, though you'd like to. Scored in the 4th minute. 2 goals in stoppage time. Pepe from 18, Pulisic PK after a foul on Malik Tillman. Now, here on where he'd like the USA to improve from its performance on Saturday against Uzbekistan. Quote, we talked to the group today. We analyzed the game. Think there were some careless loss of possessions. That was the first thing. Second thing is, I think more often recognizing what exactly is happening with their shape and how we can break it down. What I said is, it's a lot easier to do on the computer as coaches looking at it than it is on the field against a 5-4-1. Very difficult formation to play against. But there were times when we did it perfectly, and there were times when we didn't. So it's, can we do it perfectly more often than not in a game like that? Oman's last 3 outings against Palestine, the Kyrgyz Republic, otherwise known as Kyrgyzstan in past cycles, and Turkmenistan. Last game against a 2022 World Cup team, a 2-1 win in January over Saudi Arabia. Last games against non-Asian foes were a 2-0 win over Belarus, 1-0 loss at Germany in November 22. Berhalter says Oman is completely different than Uzbekistan. Uzbekistan was a 5-4-1, at times a 5-2-3. Oman has played a 4-4-2 diamond, very dynamic counterattack. So it's going to be a great test for them to play basically a 4-4-2 diamond. So think Philadelphia Union-ish kind of a setup. And when you look at tonight, when it comes to the U.S. men's national team, basically, Nick, it's everybody come out of there healthy.
Yeah. I mean, like you're playing Oman, right? I mean, just don't get hurt.
No, and we don't know if Miles is going to play Abby. I imagine he's probably going to get some minutes in there somewhere, but you might want to just give him some minutes to keep the engine warm, getting ready for the weekend.
This is one of those opportunities where you, in my opinion, you need to, find those young players that are like the U19 level, that are the tweeners between the senior team, and bring them up and just let them run and let them play and let them get competition against another side where there's, it's not somebody wearing a U.S. crest, where it's somebody, grown adults who are desperate to retain their position on their team. Mm-hmm. That's what you need to be going against. And so give them a run out there. Let them get some confidence, because you're the host of the World Cup net, no matter what tournament you're in or what game you're playing from here until 26. Mm-hmm. The only thing you need to be thinking of is we are the host nation for the World Cup. We are already in the tournament. Mm-hmm. It's about building depth and making easy situations far more complicated, because I don't want to have, okay, this is my starting outside back, hell, high water. This is him. Because what happens if he gets injured? I want an absurd amount of competition if I'm a manager.
Yes.
I want to have it where it's like, oh my God, I don't even know where to begin, because we have so much stupid talent at this position. I don't even know where to begin on bringing people in. That's what you want, an embarrassment of riches. And between now and 26, if you have the luxury of being the United States, Mexico, or Canada, well, Canada needs to, I don't know, do
I was gonna say.
Canada needs to do like a bake sale or like a lemonade stand or something to raise money, and I don't know. They're a mess. To get sorted, I guess that's their. But for Mexico, it's find youth players who are ready to take up the mantle. Okay, a lot of your players, I know that Mexico seems to think you're going to trot like 39 and 40-year-olds out for that World Cup. I wish you the best of luck in doing so. Now's time to take advantage of the luxury that you have of being a co-host, and find young talent ready to take over, to poach dual citizens of Mexican descent, to keep them out of wearing red, white, and blue, not just to spite your enemy or your opponent in the U.S., but, oh my God, shocker, bring them in and play them so they can be ready for 26. The mind becomes this cloudy, murky institution, the mere thought of it. But the United States needs to only be thinking about create depth. That's it. Build out the roster of potential names that we can call on in the event of injuries, in the event of, whatever it may be, to prevent, to make some of these dual national kids feel welcomed and embraced. Shocking idea that this may be. That the U.S. men's national team is ready, willing, and able to bring them in and welcome them as home, as opposed to letting some other nation like Italy, which is good. They're going to be fishing here. Be ready. It's going to happen. Italy's going to start fishing here. Mexico's going to start fishing here more than they already have. And you need to keep these kids in-house. So games like this where you say, hey, look, I know you've been playing for the U19s. Baby, hey, you're coming up to the big boys. You're coming to the adult table now. Wow, really? Yep, we have that faith and trust in you. Come up and play. That goes a long way. So give them the opportunity.
For me, one of those guys is Kromoski for Inter Miami. Argentine descent, played for the U.S. U19s, played for the Argentine U20s, or he was called up for the Argentine U20s in preparation for the 23 South American U20s, got the call up from the U.S. So you're keeping Kromoski away from Argentina with this kind of a call up. And that's one of the things that I've always, I know that folks will knock 3GB from one end of the planet to the other, but one of the things that he has always done, always be BC Cruton. He has always been a guy who's been recruiting those dual nationals and trying to keep them from those other countries. Obviously it's like a promise of playing time. Well, do you want to go there and sit on a bench, or do you want to come here and play? And he's getting a lot of those folks who are those dual nationals. And I want to see if, you've called up Kromoski. I hope Kromoski gets minutes tonight so he can sit there and wear that jersey. So and these kinds of things you've seen from Berhalter about keeping folks under the tent or bringing folks under the tent here.
And look, I understand that there's a particular nationalist thread within the U.S. men's national team fan base that says, you're an American. You live in America. You should be 100% American and be on Team USA. And I don't understand why it's so difficult. Well, because I don't know how you grew up. If you're one of those people saying it, I just grew up an American. Okay, well, maybe you did, but there are people out there like myself and like so many other people who were put down in front of the TV as a toddler and pointed to people who wore shirts of a different color and said, that is your team. And that's how you were raised up, not to ever cheer for anyone else but that team. And when you have that, and you look on the crest of those favorite shirts, and they oftentimes have stars above them, like Italy, like Argentina. That is very intoxicating. And it's very intoxicating when that team is interested in you. And so you can't, it's a double-edged comment to say you could sit on the bench for Argentina or play with us, because what you're telling that player is you're not good enough to play for them. But we're a tier or 3 lower than Argentina, and you can definitely start for us. That doesn't work. That recruiting line does not work. You have to let the player come to that conclusion on their own, hopefully before it's too late. Now, some players do that. Some players make that declaration for Mexico, and they're, in my opinion, the worst at doing this. Come here, come play with us. Oh, you're going to go to the bench and sit behind some 35-year-old whose game has gone down the toilet. It's an unforced error, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be very hard for Greg Berhalter when Lionel Messi is in that locker room, when the player who is the most, from a trophy perspective, the most successful Argentine player in history. Yes, I'm aware of Diego Armando Maradona, but from a player who's won Champions Leagues plural, who's won a World Cup, who's won Copa America, who's won Ligue 1. I mean, what else is there? And Lionel Messi sitting there down next to you, like, look, you really need to come to Argentina, man.
Yeah,
come here.
You're hearing the same conversations about Inter Miami,
right?
Bruh, come on over.
Yeah. I mean, every game that you put on that pink shirt, Lionel Messi can come sit down next to you, like, so have you? Copa America's coming up, baby. What you thinking? Huh? Want to come? Why don't you come with me over to the house? Antonello, we're gonna have this big barbecue, and then you have Greg Berhalter rolling up in pleated slacks. You should really come and play for the U.S. men's national team. Who are you gonna listen to? I mean, it's intoxicating, man. It's intoxicating, and it is recruiting. It's recruiting. In SEC country, we understand this better than anyone. Player born in Georgia, raised in Georgia, a superstar at the high school level, going in the high school Hall of Fame, and gets recruited by, like, Florida. It's like, wait. How did this happen?
Florida, Clemson. Absolutely.
Yep. So just because somebody grows up within your artificially drawn border doesn't mean that they owe you any loyalty. So you better keep recruiting and give him every opportunity to play, because otherwise somebody else is going to be recruiting and find that the particular package is going to get him in their door and not yours.
A couple of other things before we go. And I'll go ahead and do this, considering it's the first time that this got mentioned today, at least. It's news on the World Cup cycle. Women's World Cup news. And not really a surprise, but officially, Randy Waldrum is out as senior women's national team coach for Nigeria, despite guiding the Super Falcons to the knockout stage of the World Cup. Ibrahim Gusau's led board decided Waldrum was one vote away from getting fired before the World Cup because he wasn't happy with how money was not being spent. So Gusau's led board decided against extending the contract of the American gaffer following their executive meeting held on Sunday. Board reiterated that all hands must be on deck to ensure that momentum is maintained, even improved, with adequate support and encouragement of women's football in all ramifications. The board resolved to be thorough, and this is from the board, and ensure meritocracy in the composition of new coaching crews for the various women's national teams within the shortest possible time. And Waldrum, 66, survived a Women's World Cup sacking following backlash on his Nigerian employers allowed to finish the tournament task before the decision was made on his future. Among many allegations against the Fed, Waldrum, who is also the head coach at Pitt for the women's soccer team there, said that the Fed did not allow the opportunity to work down under. Did not give him the opportunity to work down under. Straw that broke the back of the camel was in a podcast where Waldrum challenged the Federation on misappropriation of funds to the tune of $960,000 given to the country by FIFA to ensure the preparation of the team for the Women's World Cup, as well as being owed 7 months' salaries. Waldrum was actually owed 14 and got paid half of it. Back-to-back allegations saw the Nigerian FA leadership issue him a query and can be connected to the decision to let him go. In August, Waldrum also told Punch newspaper that his contract with the NFF would end in October this year, won't be in the dugout when they face folks for the WAFCON qualifiers. Waldrum is now let go. And for those that didn't quite get all of the Waldrum versus Nigeria back and forth, he was on the On the Whistle podcast. He said, quote, in October, every country was given $960,000 from FIFA to prepare for the World Cup. Where is that money? Mentioned hadn't been paid in 14 months, was recently paid 7. The NFF, through their media director, Ademola Alagire, at the time, said the money was used in preparing the team for the tournament. And Alagire labeled him the worst coach for the Super Falcons ever. He claims he's been at the job because of the players' bollocks. Called him the worst coach ever. And the spokesman for the Fed also called Waldrum an incompetent loudmouth. So what does he do? He takes him to the round of 16. And it got to the point to where Randy's son, Ben, trolled the NFF on Facebook saying, quote, congratulations, Mr. Blabbermouth. So the head coach at Pitt, who through a lot of nonsense got the Nigeria women's team to the round of 16, is now out. Now, the biggest question is going to be, what do you do from here and how do you build from here? It's going to be one of the questions going forward for the Nigerian women's team after what they were able to do. And keeping in line with FIFA, FIFA President Gianni Infantino congratulated Mamadou Touré on his re-election as the president of the Malian Football Federation, despite him being accused of embezzling public funds after being arrested last month. Touré, who is also a member of the influential FIFA Council, is in prison as he awaits trial after being indicted back about a month ago by the Malian government for attacking public property as well as forgery and use of forgery and complicity, end quote. 66-year-old has denied the allegations, was successfully reelected last week by 61 votes to 1 after an extraordinary General Assembly. I've always wondered about those extraordinary General Assemblies. How are they extraordinary? Maybe it's because you have votes like this. The only candidate whose filing was accepted by the Electoral Commission, and so he wins 61 to 1. So Infantino writes to him to congratulate him on his reelection for a second term of office. Warmest greetings. Thank you for all your efforts, your work, and your contributions to the development of our sport and the promotion of its values in Mali, Africa, and in the world. FIFA said it's out of courtesy that Gianni Infantino does things like this. But one other thing before we go, Everton is in advanced talks. And we know that Tom Russo and Ropes are very happy about this. Everton in advanced talks, takeover talks with U.S. firm 777. Everton to the investment company close to be in a deal that will put an end to the Farhad Moshiri era. A dramatic full takeover of the club. Talks stretched back months, intensified in recent weeks after an alternative minority investment deal with MSP Capital had collapsed. That's the Michael Dell Group. Well-connected sources might be the end of Moshiri. Deal is close. We still need to get it over the line. Both sides have declined comment. Co-founder Josh Wander says 777 has more than doubled squad value at Genoa, having funded the club back into Serie A.
Oh, God.
that's who we're talking about. Other clubs include Vasco da Gama in Brazil, Hertha Berlin, who were relegated to the second tier. For the proposed deal, 777 is being advised on the deal by Tifosi Capital and Advisory. Less than a month after MSP walked away to buy a 25% stake, you're looking high tens of millions from MSP before even any money would have gone into the club. We've gone over the whole thing. They're building the new stadium. Bramley Moore a boatload of money. Cumulative losses over the last 5 years, now more than £430 million. They have FFP concerns to worry about at Everton. And so a lot of it is tied to Farhad Moshiri and Alisher Usmanov, Russian oligarch Alisher Usmanov. And so Everton is looking for help, and it might be coming from 777, who, and you, when I told you about Genoa, you raised the people's eyebrow. For those that don't know,
I raised my people's eyebrow at Michael Dell.
Yeah.
If you go and you look at the family of Dell services and products right now, there's a lot of cutbacks on those. I mean, SecureWorks is a Michael Dell, is a Dell subsidiary now, and they've laid off 60% of their staff. So I don't trust Michael Dell money as far as I can throw Michael Dell. That's the last thing I want is scared money getting into Serie A. And look, you can put your money wherever you want. You can pull your money from wherever you want, but just go on LinkedIn and look at any of the Dell companies and see how they're laying people off and see how the cutbacks they're making. And you tell me that that's somebody you want involved in your particular favorite club.
More breaking news.
Oh God.
No, this is actually good. This is
okay.
This is very, very cool breaking news. Courtesy of our friend Scott Flood and the Flood Project. 11 o'clock Saturday morning. Reverb by Hard Rock. SDH will be there for the opening kickoff. 11 to noon. We're going to be doing our show live from the lobby at Reverb, getting ready for Atlanta United and some dude named Messi.
SDH. Yeah.
Exactly. So we will be at the Reverb by Hard Rock, 11 to noon, doing live. So bring all of your friends. Start your tailgating the way you tailgate. Here's your day. Kickoff's at 5 o'clock, 5:09, because it's on season pass. Maybe you come to Reverb, you get a little lunch, maybe some brunch. Maybe get you a little lunch, maybe. Nothing to weigh you down, because you've got to be ready for tailgating for the entire afternoon.
That's right.
But you start your tailgating experience at the Reverb by Hard Rock, just outside of Mercedes-Benz Stadium. 11 to noon. We talk about this matchup with Atlanta United and Messi and friends. We talk about that. Start your day there, then go down the hill, cross over Northside Drive.
Very short, very, very short walk.
Yeah, then you go down the hill, you go into the supporters tailgate lot, you go hang out there.
That's right.
Then you come into the game, yell your head off. As Atlanta, big match. Messi and friends only 6 points out of the playoffs right now. That's basically 2 wins for you and me, Jerry.
And Abby, with an excellent point here, she says it is Rosh Hashanah. So for all of our dear, lovely friends and family in the Jewish community, Happy New Year to you all beginning Friday at sunset.
Yes.
But so for those of you who need to be at Temple, look, I understand. All right. Temple is Temple. We're not asking you to ditch Temple.
No.
But we are saying that for those of you, the heathens out there who are looking for adventurous activities at 11 o'clock in the morning, you go see John and Jason up at Reverb. I won't be there because the Dunwoody middle school football team plays at 11 a.m. and I've got to get Jackie fresh to the football game.
Yes, but you will be gravitating south as the day goes on.
Theoretically, yes. We got to see. We got to see if some things come through. If things come through, yes, I'll be there. But yes, yeah, I will be matriculating my way to the stadium at some point.
Matriculating your way.
But look, for people who have not been to Reverb yet, and look, the Flood Project always puts on a great event. Reverb is an unbelievable spot right next to Mercedes-Benz.
Mm-hmm.
They have an open space, big open area where people can hang out, great food, reasonably priced. They got drinks. They have an outdoor patio area.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are looking because if you're like me and you're used to parking at like Blue Lot or any of these other places and having to walk a half mile up, you're like, dude, man, I just want a place to chill out. I want to sit. I don't want to be standing up for 3 hours, 4 hours before the game. What can I do? Just go to Reverb, hang out, watch SDH, and then seriously, it is a short little mosey right across the street to Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah, and it's downhill to the tailgating. It's like 2 blocks.
Downhill. Yeah, it's 2 blocks to the tailgate. So if you want to go to the tailgate, you want to rest and relax before you go to the tailgate, which I need to do, because I'm just fancy like that.
Yes.
It's a very easy short walk, and if you just want to walk straight over to Mercedes-Benz or maybe go to the backyard, it is literally across the street. So Reverb, Hard Rock, Flood Project, SDH. It is the mega powers right there.
Oh, yeah. Spanish National Court has agreed with prosecution that the Rubiales case has cases to answer over alleged sexual assault and coercion. Rubiales must testify in court this Friday relating to the charges, according to our friends at El Diario. And in a fantasy football note from Adam Schefter, an MRI confirmed Aaron Rodgers officially tore his Achilles on the 4th play of his Jets career.
I guess he believes in doctors now.
Maybe.
Who knows?
That's a show. But yeah, that's the breaking news that we will be at Reverb at 11 a.m.
11 a.m.
Oh, sure. Oh, Ricky makes the point. Short walk to Wild Leap. True. That is absolutely true.
Indeed.
You can go to Wild Leap as well. So there's a lot that you can do when you're there. And so no, it was a fun day had by all. Some sackings. USA and Oman tonight. Mexico and Uzbekistan at Mercedes-Benz tonight. Plenty to play with. We did not get into what's been happening with the USLPA incident that happened at the Central Valley Fuego match involving them and players, the fans, and some players from Lex SC. So we'll get into that tomorrow and other stuff as well. Later today, USL Championship, USL League One, MLS Next Pro weekly review preview programming. That'll be out on the network. And we're always chasing interviews, as we always do. It looks like the Kit Lefersky interview for our friends from the Celtic women's team. That's probably going to be Friday morning, and we'll post that, and that'll be part of our Friday content that we have out as well. So busy stuff. Nick, thanks for coming by.
I appreciate you having me. It's always a big time, fun time to join the show when I can and run my mouth a bit. So
nothing wrong with that. So since you are here, sir, go ahead and send us home.
Until next time, everybody. We hope to see everyone, bright, shining, beautiful faces at the Beans this weekend. But we also definitely, if you can, get the Reverb. For those who are going to be going to Temple, we wish you the happiest of New Year's and enjoy, like all the services and everything to go along with that. But look, we love you. We care for you. Take care of yourselves. And until next time, everyone, mucha Euro.
What he said. End of the show. That means we get to do this. Play it safe, everybody. See you tomorrow morning.